So I'm Rob, I'm the builder investor. So we've got Paul Tinker here today. He's drove a very long way, so appreciate him coming. He's actually come in his stab vest because he's actually come to Stoke-on-Trent. 100%. So don't know if it's a bit of tongue in cheek or he's being real or not.
I'm being real.
But yeah, absolutely amazing to have you here, mate. I've obviously been following you now for some time, probably 6 or 7 months or so, since I spotted you on Facebook, I think it was. And yeah, really love the kind of stuff you do. But obviously, for people that don't know you, would you like to, give us a bit of background and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a croc-wearing ex-soldier. Left the military in 2000 Do you know, I should really know what that is off the top of my head. I have to think about it.
Yeah, someone asked me when I bought my first house on the last podcast, and I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
2007. So it gave me that little bit of thought time there. So I left in 2007, December 2007. Went straight into corporate construction. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I left the army. It was a real sort of challenging time to try and find what that transition looked like for me.
Yeah.
And when you leave the forces, they put you through what's called a CTW, which is a career transition workshop. So they sit you in a room, and it's a bit of a training course as to what are you going to do when you leave, because they've got a bit of a duty of care to make sure you're not just leave the army and be jobless and not become a drain on society.
So did you go into the army from leaving school, or was it some time after?
So I left school at 15. Not through any naughtiness or anything like that. I was fucking about with my mates in a quarry, and we was doing abseiling. I'd just seen that movie Tango and Cash. Do you remember it?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And they abseil off that building, zip line off that building. So we set one up in a quarry, and I used a karate belt as a slider, and I jumped on and it snapped.
It snapped halfway down.
I fell into the bottom of the quarry, and I was in a coma for a couple of weeks. I broke my face, my wrist, my fingers, my nose, jaw.
Bloody hell.
And it was at that time I was it was my exams, my GCSE exams, because I was in hospital I couldn't do them. So my exams were estimated. They decided not to make me do the year again and resit them the following year. And all my exams were all estimated, all my GCSEs, but they estimated in my favour, so I did all right without having to sit any exams, which was a bonus. And I got what I needed to go on to what I wanted to do, because when I left school, my old man wanted me to go and get academic qualifications. That's what he was. He was a very academic man. And I decided that I was going to become a lawyer when I left school. So to become a lawyer, I had to go to university and get A-levels from college first. Mm-hmm. So the entry level into uni. I don't know if it's the same now, but you had to get 3 A-levels to be able to do a degree.
My lads have literally just done it last year. So yeah.
So I chose human biology because I like girls. I chose PE because I like bodies, and then computer studies, and I don't know why I chose that, and I was shit at it. So I did the first year. Well, I did the first 9 months, and I thought, this is not for me. Like, Dad, this is shit. I can't do this. All my mates have all left school. They've all got jobs. They're all in money. I need to be earning money. I can't be doing this. Right, what are you going to do then, son? Right, well, I'm going to be a car mechanic. I've always loved tinkering with cars. The last I was seeing at the time, Dad had given me a clapped out Mini to fix up, and it was in my dad's garage. And I was a very spur of the moment kind of person, and I said, right, I'm going to go do a YTS as a car mechanic. So I started that. You remember the YTS?
YTS,
30 quid a week.
Yeah, a lot of people won't know what that is, will they?
Youth training scheme, yeah. 30 quid a week it was. And I was working for a bloke called DC Cook, who was he owned a chain of garages over in Yorkshire, and his kids were Formula 3 racing drivers.
Right.
And he had a Renault garage in Rotherham, and I went to do an apprenticeship with him, 30 quid a week. And after about a year of that, I'd ended up with 14 points on my driving licence as a 17-year-old lad. Because they kept lending me sports cars, and I was going out and fucking them down the motorway, and I was getting caught and getting busted and all the rest of it. And I'd got 9 points at the time, and I was coming up Sheffield Parkway, and this copper pulled me over, and he said, get in the back of the car. I'm thinking, I'm going to get banned. This is it, 12 points, I'm banned. So I got in the back of this car. He said, get in the back of the cop car. So I got in the back of the police car, and he said, what's your name? And I went, Simon Topper. And he went, I didn't write it down. He said, what's your address? And I made this address up. He said, what are you doing now? You're going to get 3 points on your licence. You're all right to drive the car back to your garage. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I gets back in the car, drove back to the garage, and I thought, I fucking got away with that. I gets back to the garage, and I started telling my mentor at the time, who was mentoring me into becoming a mechanic. She says, can't do that. So he ain't going to know who I am. It's not my car. He goes, yeah, but the car belongs to the garage. They'll come to the garage when they find out it's not you. And they'll find out it was you, then you're even more shit. I was like, nah. Anyway, he told the boss at the garage, he was a guy called Simon Grantham, which is where I got Simon from when I gave a fake name. And he got hold of me by the ear, literally. He pulled me into his car and he drove me to the police station and said, look, this lad has just been done for speeding, and he told him the full story, and they banged me up. 17-year-old, 9 points on my license. I was shitting myself. I was like, oh, what is going to go happening? I'm going to prison. And I'm sat there, and the bloke says, the copper says to me, look, we're going to let you go. We're going to refer this to court because you're going to get banned. And we'll see what happens from there. So I went to court, and my boss, Simon Grantham, again, he pleaded exceptional hardship to the courts, meaning that if I'd got banned, I would be sacked because it was an intrinsic part of my job to be able to drive. So the court actually took pity on me and gave me 5 points, so I ended up with 14 points but no ban. And I don't really still know to this day how that worked, but it meant I couldn't get insurance on my own car, but I could be insured on company business. Anyway, all this happened. I managed to keep my license, and then as a thank you to the company, I decided I was going to leave. So I was like, no, I can't survive on 35 quid a week. And I started seeing this girl called Claire. She was from, I went to school with her, but we reconnected at that time afterwards. And she was joining the army. And I was like, fuck it, I'll join the army as well. Like, just because she was joining.
Yeah, just because she was.
So she was joining the Royal
Signals. It's the kind of thing when you do when you're younger.
Yeah,
it
was,
You follow the crowd kind of thing, don't you?
Well, she was joining the Royal Signals, and I asked her how she'd done it. She said, I went to the careers office in Sheffield, and you just go in and you sign up, and then they send you off for training. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do that. So I went down to the career centre, and this is how I ended up in the trades. He said, the career sergeant said to me, what do you want to join? And I was like, I don't really know, I just want to be in the army. And he goes, well, what do you do now? I said, I'm a car mechanic. And he goes, all right, so maybe the REME is good for you. And I was like, yeah, didn't know what it was. He goes, well, that's the mechanical engineers. I said, yeah, mate, I'll join that. He said, right, you've got to sit this intelligence test first. So I'm sat down for this test. And what this intelligence test consists of was a computer screen, and it was a digital ball that went up and it hit the top of the screen at its peak, and then it disappeared. And you had to work out and guess and time it in your head when it would hit the ground the other side, but you can't see it.
Mm.
And this ball was going over, it disappears. I got it wrong every time. Right, you had to just click a mouse on it. And the guy said, you can't join the REME, you've failed the intelligence test. And I was like, what? He goes, well, here's your other options. You can join the infantry or the Royal Engineers. And I thought, I ain't going in the fucking infantry. So I'll join the Royal Engineers. I said, Royal Engineers, that'll do. Didn't know what they did either. And he goes, right, the Royal Engineers will have you. Now what you've got to do is pick a trade. So then it was electrician. What are my options? Electrician. No, mechanical fitter. That was my number one. So the engineers had car mechanics as well. So I sat the test for that, failed that. He goes, right, electrician's the next on the list. He went, right, you failed that. Your only options now are bricklayer, carpenter, or welder. Which one do you want? There's no test. And I went, fuck it, bricklayer. Literally that. That was literally how I became a brickie. So I trained to be a brickie did a 2.5 year apprenticeship with the military. Then got deployed to Germany. I went on tours to Poland, Bosnia, Kosovo, Canada, even Jamaica. And then I learnt my trade, became a section commander. Then I started training recruits in my latter years after another stint in prison.
And I've been in the construction industry for 30 years, never knew that the army trained up.
Yeah,
construction bricklayers and stuff like that.
There's a lot of people don't know like how diverse the forces are. The forces are entirely self-sustaining. Like, you can join the forces and be a postman, or a vet, or a doctor, or a dentist, or a cook, or a farrier. Like, the army can itself, it can survive without the outside world. It's got everything within it. There's not a lot of people know that. Bricklayers, carpenters, electrician, plasterer, ground worker, they're all in there. I'm not going to say they're any good, but they all do exist. The level of training's high, but it's not practiced as much as what it should be. You don't keep your trowel in all the time. And then I left the forces in 2007, and as I say, I was in that career transition workshop, and I decided in that moment that what I was going to do was construction management, and I basically copied it off the guy that was sat before me that got asked, and that's what he said he was going to do. I'm going to be a construction project manager, so I'll do that. And we both applied for the same job up in Scunthorpe. We was based in Aldershot at the time, and me and Joe both applied for this job in Scunthorpe, construction site manager. We both got interviewed, and I got the job, and he wasn't happy with me that I took his job as he saw it. And that was the start of my project management career, as it were. And I went into that space really sort of, you got to remember, all I knew was the forces. All I knew was the military. That is it. It's a very disciplined, it's the most disciplined structured organisation in the world. So for me, my life, my thought process, the way I think, the way I operate, walk, everything has been given to me in a process. And to go into a civilian organisation and see how inefficient and unstructured it was fucking blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like this company was there, 100 million turnover a year, and I'm sat there being asked to take on this site. It was a 17 million pound site, the first job they put me on, and there was brown envelopes and cash and people buying cars for each other, backhanders, and people nicking this out of here and this out of here, and it was like, what is happening here? This is no good.
Yeah.
So I started to bring some structure into that business, and my peers didn't like it. So they complained about me, basically.
Yeah, I've noticed that within construction there's a lot of resistance to systematisation and bringing things together, because ultimately they see it as doing people out of jobs. They're looking at it completely the wrong way. Are you with me, in my opinion?
Yeah, completely.
Effectively, they can help them to do their job a lot better and maximise on it, not take it away from them.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big problems in the construction industry is we get people in the industry calling themselves tradesmen, calling themselves business owners, calling themselves limited companies even. And what's really happening is and I'm generalising now, let's say 90%, a statistic I've just made up, but the vast majority of tradesmen I speak to simply left school at 16, worked out that they were good with their hands, they could throw shit at walls and make it look nice, start charging money for it, and then start doing it. Charging money, but nobody at any point gave them any business acumen. Like I have trades on jobs, and they turn out an amazing product. They're running at a loss, they're running at no profit, they don't know how to fucking present a quote, they've got zero selling skills, they've got zero marketing skills, no business acumen, don't know what a cash flow forecast is, don't know what they're doing in a month's time, got no vision, no values, no future, just work hand to mouth, day to day, waiting for Friday. Can't wait, it's Friday.
Yeah, Friday can't come quick enough.
Saturday morning, the first thought when they wake up is, fucking hell, it's Monday soon. And it's an ever perpetuating cycle of it's almost self-destruction without that plan, without that vision. Like, people are just stuck in the moment, in the now, in the where's my invoice getting paid? Like, how can I save 20 pence on this bag of cement? Like, diesel's cheaper by 5p at that garage down the road. Like, and you see them unable to zoom out from the business and look at it rather than being in it. And it's such a common thing. It really is a common thing.
It's part of like you've said, obviously, I would imagine there's a real high proportion of construction, people that work in construction are self-employed. So effectively they're running a small business.
Yeah, totally.
And the government and whoever puts the training schemes in place, they must know this because they've got data. They obviously they're non-revenue and they know exactly who's self-employed and not. Yet, like you've said, we don't teach it. It's I've worked in a college environment. I've worked in education, and I found myself talking to the young lads about CIS and things like that because I thought that they needed to know, because 90% of them would go out there and they'd almost have their hand forced into being self-employed, working under CIS 714 as it was called when I was younger, and it's just not. There's nothing taught. It's kind of in the wheels of property and things like that as well. We're not taught about buying assets and things, are we? And moving on slightly, and it's just the whole education system. I think it's completely broke.
Yeah.
So,
I just think all the subjects are irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, is it broke or is it like that for a reason to keep people in their place?
Mate,
are you with me?
That's such a good point. Like, why would they teach everybody to become business entrepreneurs? Because you know what? Not everybody's cut out to do what we do.
No, I agree with that as well.
My son's 18. He's 19 in a couple of days, actually. Tradesman, he's a landscaper. And like, I try and talk to him about business and debt and like being focused and having values, and he's don't give a shit.
Yeah, the interest's not there at that age, is it? So it's difficult to teach.
It's difficult for him because he's driven, and he wants to succeed, and he wants to focus, but he sees how much work I do. He sees how busy his old man is, and I think that puts him off.
Yeah.
So he's actually signed up for the Paras now, and he's joining the Paras in a couple of months. And I'll do him good. That I think he'll get, no matter how long he serves, because he needs that. He needs a rocket up his arse.
Yeah, I think my 3 do sometimes as well. But
if he does 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years and makes a career out of it, he'll come out. He'll come out hungry. He'll come out wanting more, and he'll come out changed. It's the discipline that the forces are able to put into a human being is fucking next level. It's incredible, and I think it's truly needed.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it depends on the kind of person. I mean, I've just been speaking to you off air about the guy that was on before you on the podcast, and he had this opinion that the forces is good if you're the kind of person that can take direction and can handle being told what to do. And are you with me? Not the fact that you're not actually going to think for yourself, but you can take direction, take orders, basically. And he was one of those people that just couldn't handle. He went all the way through school, couldn't handle. Got kicked out of school because he didn't want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
And he, in his opinion, he regretted going into the forces, even though he had the camaraderie and he built up that relationship with the guys he was in with and things like that. But had a real difficult time. So when he put down to the fact of personalities and the kind of person you are, but it's like it comes back to the fact that what you've just said about people being in business, not everyone's cut out for it.
No, they're not.
If I go and speak to my wife now, she's just happy going to work, finishing, coming home, running, doing what she fancies doing, and that's it. Some people are happy in that kind of scheme.
When I made the decision to leave corporate construction, when I left the forces, I went into corporate management, and I was doing that for 11 years before I made the decision to go and work for myself. I was 42 before I went into entrepreneurship, and that decision for me was really hard because I'd come from the forces where you are, for want of a better word, you are mollycoddled to a degree. You don't have to think for yourself. They do it all for you and just tell you what to do. And as long as you can follow orders, as your man's alluded to in the last episode, you'll do well. Then when I left corporate construction, I became accustomed to receiving a wage every month, and that wage was good. And in the rank, if you like, that I got to in corporate construction, I was running a global organisation. I was the ops manager for the UK, and I was flying up and down the UK checking on sites, and I was on a 6-figure salary. We was on bonus, overtime, I had a Range Rover company car, I had service accommodation units all up and down the country, wherever I was going to.
It's difficult to let go of that, though.
Very difficult to let go of that and go into
the unknown, basically,
because I didn't know what I was doing. I was fucking clueless, mate. And I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about sales. I'd had no training. And here's me. I left. I was really fortunate, and I'm really grateful that when I left, I got a 40 grand payout from my employer. Bit of a handshake to go self-employed. And with that money, again, having no training on money, finance, or anything like that, I just got it all and I spunked it on a van. And I bought a brand new transit van, 28 grand straight off the bat. That it wasn't a mistake, but I learned a lot from it. And then with the balance, that was my if it don't work money. Keep me going for like 6 months, I'll be okay, let's see what I can make of this business. So I started it, and again, no training. But at the time, I was very driven, I was very focused, I was very determined to make it. And, you know, when I left corporate, everyone was, oh, you don't know what you're doing, you're a fucking idiot, and, you know, you're going to lose, and you'll be back, see you in fucking 3 months. And I was getting all that shit off them. My first sale in my construction business was 40 quid. It was a quote I'd put together off a Tesco's card, you know, the cards you put in Tesco window. And it was builder for sale. That's all I wrote, and my phone number. And this woman rang me, and it was, can you come and fit my kid's TV in his bedroom? And I thought, oh, it's going on the wall, like this one. And it was on his headboard, so he had bunk beds. I mean, his brother were above, and she wanted it on his, putting on his headboard. So I banged it on, 40 quid, and I went VAT registered straight away. So it was 40 plus the VAT. And she went, I'm not paying the VAT, and she gave me 40 quid cash. So my first experience in business was getting knocked of 8 quid. And then the second job I had after that was a garden wall, 900 quid. And then I just immediately, well, like, because I was so focused, so driven, it was, you know, I laid all the bricks, and it was like, my next job, I win, I aren't doing the work. Like, I need to hire people. That was my corporate skill set, was bringing in subbies. That's how I ran that business. And I won an extension, 16 grand it was, real cheap at the time. That was just a shell price. And it was, right, I'm not doing this. I'm going to hire a brickie, and I'm going to go win the next job. And that's really how I got started. And then within 6 months, I guess, I had 5 vans on the road, commercial unit, 18 lads working for me on the books. I had 30 subbies within 6 months. I was doing HMOs, I was doing commercial conversions, I was doing flips, building my own portfolio really, really aggressively, really, really fast. But that comes with massive, 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 massive stress and risk. Cash flow management was fucking non-existent. I was hand to mouth, robbing off Peter to pay Paul, and just moving like the typical brand new property investor does. Like, borrow off him, borrow a bit off him, give it him, and he can have that bit, he can have that bit, and you just like this. And then at the end of the shift, who's got nothing? Me. Like, everyone else has got it.
Everyone else has been paid. Everyone's happy, sat on the pub Friday afternoon.
So I invested in business training and sales training. I had 4 mentors at one bit, and I just like ramped every penny I made. I invested it back into me and into my thinking, into my business, into my education. And 6 years later, here I am now, loving life. And I wouldn't change anything. Like, looking back and having the time and freedom. Like, for me, I know we're digressing, you haven't asked this yet, but success for me is not money in the bank. Success for me is the time and freedom to do the things I want to do, when I want to do them, with who I want to do them. And to be able to get up this morning, get in the car, and Taz over to Stoke, in my stab vest, and spend the afternoon with you, is a fucking great thing to be able to do.
It's that freedom's amazing. I mean, it's part of the reason why I've done it. I mean, I had the freedom anyway through running my own company. I wasn't a big company at all. We were just working one job at a time. Got 5 or 6 lads working for me, making, comfortable living, got a nice house, got a nice car, really enjoyed the mountain biking, and basically went and did that whenever I fancied. But sometimes it was to the detriment of the company. Are you with me? So so I'd got it to the point where I was loving life, spending it, doing what I wanted, travelling all around the world, around the country and stuff like that, riding my mountain bike whenever I fancied. But when my old man died suddenly, who was like, my hero kind of thing, we were more like best friends than, didn't see much of him when I was young because my mum and dad splitting up, but that's another story. And he just died suddenly after having this COVID injection, and it just put things into perspective that if I die tomorrow, I've enjoyed my life to the maximum, but I'm going to leave my kids and my wife possibly in the shit. Are you with me? So, because, my dad didn't leave much behind. He had quite a bit to him, but his will wasn't in place and things like that. A lot went to what is now his wife, and stuff like that. And it just opened my eyes, and I spotted a book, and purely down to the fact that it said the word dad in the title, Rich Dad Poor Dad, I thought, I'm going to have a listen to that, and I listened to it, and that's what it all sparked it off.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's the one. It's the one. I'll call it a cliche book. The one everyone talks about.
It's the one everyone.
It's the one I've not read.
It's like the entry book.
It's probably the only book I haven't read.
I didn't read it. I'm really badly dyslexic.
All right.
So like the advent of audiobooks was massive for me. It allowed me to, you know, listen to a lot of books that I wanted to do. I just hadn't got the confidence to sit down and read. Are you with me? So, but yeah, that's when it started for me. And then I went from basically loving my life, doing whatever I wanted to really, to being very busy. And it was a massive shock. Are you with me? But I knew that I'd got to do it, and I'm halfway through it now. I'm 2 years in. I've got a 5-year plan. Everything's going to plan so far. This whole thing is part of it. But now I see this kind of thing as enjoyable, like you just said. You know what I mean? I've got to the point now. I'm 2 years in. I've said to my partner, I'm going to take a day off tomorrow, do a podcast, and you know, maybe a few other bits and stuff like that. And it will get to the point now where I can get back to doing what I want, like you, and basically still have something in the background that's actually financially backing me up as well, which is what I was lacking. Are you with me? Everything that I earned went on mountain bikes, holidays, camper vans, you know, nice things. Didn't have much in the bank to show for it, so yeah. So yeah, less about me anyway. You're on my podcast. So what? Obviously, you've gone from, you know, your army career into that corporate job, moved into business for yourself, done really well in surprisingly a fast time. You know, if you've done that in 6 to 12 months, that's seriously moving. Are you with me? What happened that made you want to, obviously because you teach it now, you know, you give out a lot of education based around that area, and from what I've seen, it's going absolutely phenomenal. I've just had a look at your website, you know what I mean? You've ramped now up as quickly as your construction company, from what I can see. What made you want to do that? What made you want to give value back to other people?
That was just fucking frustration, mate. That was. So in that 6 to 12 to 18 months of aggressively growing my construction business, what happened was I left corporate and the military. So it all comes back to that disciplined, structured, corporate, regimented way of operating, thinking and doing business. Just runs through everything that I do. And when I started my own construction business, I got a fucking shock. Like, what are you on about? You want just a ballpark figure for that thing that's in your head. You won't tell me what it is. And I go, what? I was fucking gobsmacked. Have you got any drawings? What? Can't you just fucking design it? No, this is how construction works. And I lost a lot of work because of it, because of my approach. I had no selling skills. It was just, you need this, then
you haven't done it correctly. I can't work for you.
Wouldn't allow me to work for him at the time. So I decided, like, I need to get out of the domestic space. I can't work for these domestic customers. They don't value business, they don't value efficiency, they don't value compliance, and I'm not prepared to operate outside of those parameters. So I need corporate clients like what I'm used to.
They're very uneducated, aren't they?
As well. Yeah.
Towards it.
So I approached local authorities, I approached all the councils that I previously worked for in my corporate days. And they said, until you've been trading 2 years, we can't talk to you. And I was like, fuck, what do I do now? So I sit down with a brainstorm session with the wife, and it was, we need professional clients that don't care how long we've been trading. Who do we know? So it was, let's go and speak to some tier 1 builders and see if they'll take us on as a subbie. So I won a couple of contracts, one with a Walsall based builder and one with a Nottingham based builder, and that was ticking over nicely. But the payment terms were really, really tough, like 90 days.
90 days,
3 months to get paid was bad when you was just starting up. So it was, who else do we know? Like, what else can we do? So we found this sphere of property investors, and this is how I got into property. So I went to a couple of networking events, and I was the only builder there, and it like blew my mind. And I'm sat in these networking rooms, and everyone's, I need a builder, I need a builder.
You're an actual builder, and you're mobbed, aren't you?
And I'm like, fucking hell, this is like gold mine.
Yeah.
And I asked, I'm a local builder. Like, if anyone wants any projects delivering, I can take on the whole thing for you. Fucking hell, I was mobbed.
Yeah.
But guess what? What I deemed them to be professional,
no,
they were even fucking worse than
even
domestics.
worse than domestic customers,
Even worse.
Because they are trying to save money, they're trying to penny pinch all the time,
So I've got these 2 corporate clients, one in Walsall, one in Nottingham, and then I've got these property investors I'm working for. And me and Mrs. went to Turkey in August 2019, start of August. And I was laid on the beach in Bodrum, and I said to her, fuck this. I'm going back to a fucking job. I can't be doing this. I'm going back to work for them. I'm chucking all this in. She's going, what? Why? Talk to me about problems. Tell me. And this was before a time I'd done any personal development or anything.
So I've heard your missus mention quite a lot. I take it she's really quite supportive of what you do then.
Oh yeah. And she's laying on the beach and she's going, well, tell me what the issues are. I said, look, these fucking property investors and these two fucking corporate clients, corporate clients don't pay me. The property investors don't know what they're fucking doing. They don't know how to work with a builder. And she goes, have you tried teaching them? I'm not fucking doing that. And just ego wouldn't allow me to do this for them. So we laid there and she said, right, why don't you form a training business? And I was like, what? She goes, well, you're a training instructor in the army. You like helping people and you're really passionate about this topic. So let's create something. How can we do that? So she booked from Turkey. She booked a hotel in Hull. Remember the days of the old 1 day free training? Come along and listen to me talk, and I'll pitch you something else down the road. Pick a 7 on the end of it. Turn the aircon on, all the smoke going, hard music, hugging and clapping. None of them days.
Run to the back of the room.
Yeah, all that. And so she booked this hotel, and I did a post on Facebook. And about 35 people came to this event, which was really surprising. I was quite nervous. My first public speaking gig was for myself, and I'm stood at the front of this hotel room and I simply just ranted like I'm ranting right now, like I was ranting on the beach. I ranted like that for 4 hours at these property investors. You don't know what you're doing, you're losing this, you're losing that, you're not compliant, you're going to fucking jail. And I was I was honestly, it was like a military bollocking. And it got to the end of this session and this bloke was like, so, what's next? You've just fucking shouted at us for 4 hours.
What do we do about it?
So we can come and do my project management training. It's running in October. I'd not created it or anything.
Yeah.
And the bloke went, how much is that? I said, 999 quid. And he went, give me his card. And then 10 other people bought it as well. And I was like, there's fucking something in this. But I didn't know what it was. So this was at the end of August, and I booked the course in, I think it was October, maybe November, same that year. So it gave me that period of time to take my corporate approach to delivering a project and creating a course around it. It was received really well, and it was long old days. I think I started at 8 in the morning, we finished at 11 at night. I think it was a 2 day to start with, or maybe 3, I forget. No, it was 2 days. So it was 2 full on days. Got to the end and it was like feedback time. That should have been 3 days, and you could have finished earlier. So next time it was 3 days. I ran it again, then it was 4 days. Ran it again, then it became 5 days, and now it's been a 5 day course now for 4 years. And I've simply developed that training over the last 5 years now, and the results that people get from having that system in their world are transformational. It's fucking night and day from winging it to having a systemized profitable business. You get the system in 5 days, and you take that away, plug it into your business, and then you then can go on a viewing in a structured way, come away from that viewing, work out what the costs are, start pulling together a program of work, start pulling together specification, getting all your compliance in place, putting it out to tender, going through the entire procurement process and contracting, then delivering the job, and then everything all stacking up at the back end. In a nutshell, having that in a structured way, all the documents, all the downloads, all the frameworks, all the cheat sheets, all the procedures to be able to do that is what I do.
See, I can't understand. I mean, this is how I found you. When I first come into property, I found exactly the same. I went to a networking event and I mentioned, I think it was CIS, paying subcontractors, mentioned something about CIS. There was about 50 people in this room, and I think 47 of them had been paying subbies for years, some of them years, 10, 15 years. None of them knew what CIS was. Mate, and I'm thinking, if the taxman comes after you go back 6 years, you're paying a lot of money because they're not coming after the tradesman, they're coming after you for paying it.
You hold it,
Yeah, and I was like you say, bewildered. I was astounded. And I kind of put this little program together that I used to just deliver to people that I knew for free, because I felt bad for them that they didn't know simple things like this. And that's come about now, whereas I do this, it's nowhere near what you're doing. It's just a little 1 day course called the Refurbishment Masterclass, and I don't push it very hard. It's organically put out through my Facebook, and I get 10 people at a time, and we go through it. And I did it purely down to the fact that I felt bad for these people that were just trading in the wrong way. Yeah, and the feedback's been really good. But this is how I found you. I just thought, I wonder if anyone else is doing this. And I can find you and then one guy in Scotland that's doing it. And it's crazy. It's the amount of people that have been in the industry for some of them 20 years that don't know what pre-construction phase is. You know, they don't. Simple things like, measuring up for skips and things like that. They're like, how many skips do you think you'll need on this project? Well, 2 do. And I'm like, are you living in cloud cuckoo land? Like, and a skip's expensive now, so it can have a knock-on effect, and all these little things added together. And it's, and that's how I found you, basically. And I've been following what you do pretty much ever since. I think when we first met, I saw one of your posts and took it the wrong way, and I think we had a bit of a discussion, you, me and Danny Inman, I think, about tradesmen or something like that, about work slowing down. I think that was last year, so this year.
Yeah.
So, and I found it good that, I think I messaged you after, said, I hope you didn't take offence to that, it was just a healthy debate. And I think that's
that when you've limited.
Yeah, it's lost. I think it's lost now. People can't have a healthy conversation where there may be a bit of a disagreement or something like that, and just treat it as a healthy debate, you know what I mean? I think that's getting lost in society with social media and things like that.
Yeah, I agree with that, mate.
Like that, having a go at one another.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
Are you with me?
I get quite I can get quite defensive on socials because I get so much shit, and because I get so much shit, I can take like a comment, I can take it the wrong way. That's just maybe not open and honest, because you perceive any sort of challenge can be taken the wrong way, and you can go,
I think text as well.
You're fucking trolling me.
Reading text itself and not sitting in front of someone. There's no tone. There's no audibility or anything like that.
It can be dangerous. So speaking of trolling and dealing with people on socials, though, what I have found, which is a bizarre thing, and I try and study the reasoning behind this, and I can't come up with a solid psychological thought process around why it happens. But there's different levels of, well, I call it trolling. I don't mean trolling. Different levels of, like,
some of them are doing it, just to be controversial, aren't they?
Platforms.
Yeah.
So, TikTok's, it's an absolute cesspit of abuse on TikTok.
I've only just joined it, so.
Have you?
Yeah.
Like, you get into any of my videos on TikTok, and the comments, half of them are always shit, like abuse. Like, you are a fucking bald-headed pedo-looking twat. I know, like. But you would never. I would never find that on Instagram. That type of comment. I find TikTok's where all the hate is. I find Instagram. I find no hate on Instagram. Personally,
people are out to
Facebook's
learn, aren't they? On
in the middle.
Yeah.
And YouTube, I don't get shit on YouTube either. That's always rather encouraging comments on YouTube. That's weird because
I've had some on YouTube.
The people on the end of the keyboard are the same. So what is it that I'm on TikTok, I'm going to be a dick? Or is it just that all dicks are on TikTok? I don't know.
I think it's the audience, and it's the genre. Obviously, TikTok's going to be a lot more younger people, isn't it? And I find younger people nowadays quite angry at the world. Yeah. My kids, it's 17 and 18. I was not interested in politics at all. My kids are so political now.
Are they?
At their age. And I just find it a bit weird. Are you with me? How ages and genres and things like that.
I think it's weird because it's different to how we were. Right? What age are you? 45.
45. I am.
Similar age. Like when I was a teenager, all I was bothered about was booze and girls. That's it. My son now, who's 18, turning 19, has a pint every other week.
Yeah.
And I look at
the old health freaks and that,
there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you out getting pissed and shagging? And I just don't like it, Dad. I'm not interested in it. And because I don't drink now, I wonder whether that's why he's like that. Or is it that he genuinely just don't like it? Or
It's this different
I'm
era,
actually
isn't it? We
sat
went
around
out to
asking.
pubs and nightclubs and things. They're not done as much now. A lot of people meet
Mate, I
via
used to go
social
clubbing
media
Thursday
and stuff
night,
like
Friday
that, don't
night, Saturday night, and I wake up Sunday in a pit in a ditch somewhere. And that was me every week. I was like that.
they?
Up to being 40.
That goes with being a squaddy
Yeah,
and
it
being
does,
a
yeah.
bricklayer as well,
Yeah,
though,
it
doesn't
does,
it?
totally, yeah.
So obviously the education, it's going amazing from what I can see.
Yeah, it's great. And now having a new training centre is
Yeah, I've
such
seen
a-
that. That place looks amazing.
It is, yeah, and it's such a great opportunity to be able to, because I've always wanted to help the trades as well. I focused on developers for the reasons we've already gone through today, but to now have the opportunity to help the trades businesses out there as well is being great, and that's happened because I've got my own centre. I now don't need to go spend thousands on hotels and putting teas and coffees on and all the rest of it to put a day on. I can now just go, fuck it, we'll do something on Saturday. I'll put a post onto socials and I'll fill the place like that.
Yeah.
And people come along, and whether they sit there for a morning, whether they come all day, I get to have an impact on their business and therefore their life and therefore their future. And knowing that I've done that is a really rewarding thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's people will sit here watching or listening or whatever, however they're going to tune in, and people on the outside who are not in property or construction or what have you, they'll see, a lot of them see you setting a business up, a trading company, purely to make money. And it's, that is an element. We've got to make money. We've been put on this earth to live, and in order to live, unfortunately, we need to make money.
Yeah.
So it's quite a driving force. But there's always that element of reward as well, isn't there? And if something's rewarding, you kind of put more passion into delivering it or doing it. And that shows, you know what I mean? It's the feedback alone that you're probably getting from the people that are coming through the programs and the courses shows that you're passionate about delivering it. Are you with me?
Yeah, I mean, I get both. I'm super passionate about delivering it. Like, there's no one delivers with as much energy as me. Like, when I've finished a day's training, I am fucking bollocksed. And people that pay me for training, I'm rewarded handsomely for it. They're getting all of my experience, knowledge and skills on tap and on steroids, because they ain't got to go figure it out. It's do it like
they're learning from your experience, basically, aren't they? Yeah, someone that's done it
20 years to figure out. So that shortcut's saving them a lot of time and energy and frustration. But yeah, it's
how do you find it though, pulling trades in next to pulling people in the property industry in? Because property industry, it's a known, you know what I mean, it's kind of a given that education's good. Are you with me? You know, if you can kind of invest in yourself, that's taught a lot within property, whereas I would imagine in construction there's quite a bit of resistance to lads saying, you're not telling me how to do my job.
Yeah, it's a really good point, mate, and a really good question. And actually, when I first started the training business, one of my very, very early sales calls, I was still in my son's bedroom, was still my office. I still remember it like it was yesterday. He was a tradesman, and he rang me and said, look, I can see you doing all this training for developers and how to run projects and blah, blah, blah. I want to get off my tools and grow my business, grow my trades business. How can you help me? And I also had that opinion of tradesmen, and I blanketed the entire industry exactly like you just did. And I actually said to him, trades don't value education, so I'm not doing it. And I stopped it in its tracks. But what's happened over the last sort of 4 years, as trades have wanted to get off the tools and grow their business, they've gone and worked with people like Andy Hubbard, with Whitebox, with all people like this that show tradesmen how to become developers and build new builds, get paid from the process, which is a great opportunity. But what I found was there was a pocket of trades that was such a massive jump in thinking and money and mindset and personal ability, self-worth, can I actually go and build a fucking house on my own? That leap of faith, that jump to that
exact same thing happened to me.
That Andy and Andy Hubbard and Lloyd and Andy teach. I found a little like lots of people going down the become a developer route, which is one option, to kind of seeing that's too far for me. I'm going to recoil. And they kind of came back from that. And for me, they were the people that wanted to get off the tools, but just manage a construction business.
Yeah.
Don't actually want to go and build 10 houses.
Yeah.
Don't actually want to go and build a house at all. I want to keep low risk. I want to build my construction business. I don't want to be plastering ceilings anymore, but I want to manage a full refurb. And that was the little niche, if you like, that I spotted. And there was people, tradesmen coming on my project management training that didn't want to get into property. And to be clear, my training is not property training; it is project management training. And they was coming onto it and going, "Yeah, I'm gonna go fucking smash it now." But I was only getting like maybe between 10 and 15% of delegates were builders, tradesmen.
No, that's okay.
So what I did was I created a training day for trades to show them what's possible. We just ran our first one last weekend. 40 tradies came along. And it was, look, this is where you are right now. You're one man with a trowel in your hand and a clock in the other. You can now sell that trowel moving for a certain amount of time. There is only a certain amount of hours in a day that you have for sale. And when they've all run out, you can't earn any more money. Yeah. And the look on their faces were like, fuck, he's right. And when I showed them that, and they said, well, how do we create more money then? We just put our prices up. No. You don't need to do that. You need to step up and manage the wider project and learn how all the intricacies of a project at large runs, rather than just that ceiling getting skimmed. Yeah. And when you can get that process, package it up as a product, and market it and sell it, that's how you change the game. What? And we can all do that. Well, yeah. Given this process that I'm going to share with you this afternoon, there you go. And to see their like light bulb of this is possible. We don't need any money to do this. Was amazing. It was an amazing experience. So we decided, finished it on Saturday, and I said to the team, 6th of July next week, next month, let's do another one. They put it on, that sold out as well, another 40. And it was like, there's a market for this. Yeah. Book one in September. So we've got one for September. That's half full. Book one for November. So we've got another one in November booked. And that will just grow arms and legs. That's no trying. That's a post on Facebook.
So is it all organic posting, or did you put ads out and things like that?
No, I had this conversation on the day the other day. Everyone's talking about boost buttons and running Facebook ads and all the rest of it, and it's just not needed.
Yeah, I don't think it is personally.
I don't.
If you build that decent brand, and it's obviously easier to build that personal brand than it is a company brand. People buy into you. Are you with me? Yeah. If you're giving them a bit of value, they'll buy into you. So yeah.
People buy the results of others. That's what people buy. Yeah. So they see
90% of our work as a construction company comes from Facebook. So, and when I merged with this new company, and I told them that just where's the majority of your work come from, and it was Facebook. It was like, hey, how do you get work from Facebook? It's like, post what you do, just show people what you're doing. People are interested. The old big brother syndrome that everyone interested in other people's lives, and well, you've seen it on TikTok. You can see someone turn a bit of mortar and it get 1 million views.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
It's like, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing? But people are interested. So you'll sell yourself if you present yourself in the correct way. Are you with me? So
yeah, definitely.
That's what I think anyway. So where are we getting up to on time? Well, I don't know, 49 minutes. I just flew past. So, but yeah, from what I've seen, mate, you've fucking absolutely smashing it. And yeah, you didn't need come in your stab best, really.
I fucking did them in Stoke. I'm going for a coffee after this and all, and I'm keeping it on.
Are you meeting up with James?
Yes.
P&P. I might come round with you, actually. I'm actually hosting the Stoke one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I've been asked to ask you if you'll come and talk at one of our events at some point, but I do appreciate that it's a bloody long way for you. With me, so.
I'm off down to the P&P in Croydon next month.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere now, aren't they? So it's doing it.
We tried to make something work at our office for him. But the curry houses won't play ball. They won't deliver. They won't deliver the curries, so we wanted to have it in our centre.
All right. Yeah. What the hell, that's a bit shit, isn't it?
Yeah, they won't.
They'd have done something,
we can't accommodate that many.
So. We'll have to get some catering in and make a curry yourself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, obviously it's a property podcast, so we'll have to talk a little bit about it. So, but you've already mentioned the fact that you were building a portfolio quite aggressively alongside putting the training together, and your building company. Are you still actively buying property and things like that, or is it something that you've stopped now?
And now I stopped. Like what I realised, I can never really articulate what I mean by this. But for me, investing in property is a great way to grow your wealth, right? That's why people do it.
Yeah.
To generate cash flow or big capital sums.
Capital growth, yeah.
Now, what I realised was there was a lot of process, delay, time, risk involved in that. And so what I did was I cashed my chips in, sold everything. One of them took fucking months to sell as well.
Right.
But I cashed my chips in at the end of COVID, and I thought, this money now is me getting off the tools. It's getting off the tools of property investing.
Yeah.
So how can I still take that money?
I had that last week. People don't realise getting off the tools doesn't mean about just getting off the tools.
For me, getting off the tools, my next task to get off the tools is to stop teaching.
Yeah.
Which is never going to happen because I just fucking love it.
Yeah.
But in property investing, it was to stop investing in property. But how do I now grow the wealth would be to invest in other people's projects. So to take that pot of cash that I have generated through property and other things and invest that into other people's projects to still get to grow the wealth, create cash flow without having all of the fucking pain and chew.
Yeah, letting them do the legwork basically.
Yeah. And it's, do you know what? It's super profitable, super low risk if you put the right systems in place.
Every person watching this now is going to be contacting you if you're investing in other people's projects,
and it is massively rewarding.
Yeah, to see other people doing what they wanted to do and almost help out. Are you with me?
Yeah. Do you know what I can't stand though?
No.
When someone hears me say that, right? Or they'll see me type it on Facebook as a bit of a tip, and they slide into my DMs with a straight fucking mush, lend me 50 grand type of thing. And it's like, mate, I don't even fucking...
I don't know you.
I've never
You've
had a conversation,
no trust
ever.
Yeah.
And then if I've got to go onto your profile to find out who you are, it's a bit early to be asking me for 50 grand.
Yeah.
It's it's a really...
The offer's got to be there as well. I think with people... I mean, I've only just raised finance like recently. I've got an equity partner. And I found that people would, like you say, want money without actually building any trust, building any kind of relationship, and then also not actually offering something that's juicy, a deal. Are you with me?
Yeah.
It's got to be, for an investor to get excited about something, there's got to be some kind of excitement there, isn't there? Some kind of, you know what I mean? If it's something that he's done a million times over before, it just becomes monotonous, and it's not. You know, these people have already built and made the money, so that's not. Although that is what they're doing it for, to make money, to make a return. I would imagine that's quite a small part of it. It's the reward that comes back and the fulfillment and things like that as well.
There's a few things to consider. We've got know, like and trust is the first thing. Returns, timescales, and security. Like all those things, if all those boxes are ticked in terms of I'm happy with them, then there's no reason why I won't do business. Why I won't transact, because if all those things meet my expectations, it's a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like going outside when it's raining. Do I put my brolly up or not?
Yeah.
Well, I want to stay dry, so fucking yeah.
Yeah, it's going up.
I've got a pot of cash that I want it to be bigger, so like it's...
Yeah, totally agree. So yeah, we've now approached, probably just run over a little bit on what we can get on YouTube. So, but yeah, I honestly, mate, I really appreciate you coming, because I understand that's a long drive. So and I think I've actually been booked in to come on yours at some point.
Yeah.
So
any opportunity I get to talk about myself, I'm in.
Yeah. So we'll come and do yours.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna fly over,
appreciate you. Pardon?
I was going to fly over, but
can you fly from here to?
Your nearest airfield's miles away.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about, actually. You've just got your pilot's licence, haven't you?
Yeah.
So, how's that been? Is that like a big dream?
I wish I could say yeah. But no.
No, just something you fancied doing.
Something I fancy. I'm very spur of the moment kind of person.
Yeah.
As you've gathered from listening to
I
my life story.
I only know because I got mentored by Jamie York, and I've become quite friendly with him. So, and
I think he's on his bucket
actually
list.
learning to fly now.
Yeah.
So he's been following what you've been doing flying wise. So I've seen him popping up quite a lot on your comments and stuff, and he mentioned it a couple of times. So yeah. So yeah, that's amazing, mate. If you've actually learned how to fly, it's something I want to do.
I actually applied for my licence physically this morning before I came here.
Oh, that's ace,
Went
mate.
to the office, put the application in, got in the car and came here.
It's amazing, mate. But yeah, so if anyone wants to get in touch with you, wants to take you up on your training or anything like that, or wants to badge you for some money for an investment, how can they do that?
Facebook's the best place.
So
to get hold of me.
Facebook, Paul Tinker, we'll find you.
Or you can find us on our website at www.constructiontrainingacademy.com.
Spot on, mate. So if you'd like to go down below, hit the bell, follow, whatever. Yeah, not literally down below.
Down below.
But
I'm always up for some of that.
yeah, and we'll call that a day, guys, and we'll see you again. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers, guys.